Welcome back to Heroes on Our Island. I'm your host, Christine Persichetti. Now let's head to Massapequa, where we meet a family who turned their heartache into help for others. Their baby girl died from Wolff-Hirschhorn syndrome, and now through their nonprofit, Bella's Believers, they're helping other families who are dealing with this rare condition.
She had a short life, but a good life.
Peggy Lynn Kirch wipes away tears as she talks about her daughter, Isabella. She found out when she was 28 weeks pregnant that Isabella had Wolff-Hirschhorn syndrome. It's an extremely rare chromosomal disorder. 1 in every 50,000 babies is born with it.
We did our research, and my husband and I decided that we were going to continue with the pregnancy, and we were going to do anything that we could to give her a full life. We knew she wasn't going to live as long as a typical person, but we were going to give her a good life and quality, and that was important to us.
Wolff-Hirschhorn causes delayed growth and development, intellectual disability, and seizures. It can also cause abnormalities of the eyes, brain, and heart. Tough news for a first-time mom, or any mom for that matter, to absorb.
As the pregnancy got further, it just got too difficult to write things and call people. So I would call my mother and my mother-in-law, and they could tell who they chose to tell. So my sister started the Facebook page and they called it Bella's Believers.
It was sad because every time there was news, it was worse. And it was like, how many times could you say the same thing? So I said, you know what, we know, we'll put it on there. So it was for friends and family, and then all of a sudden strangers started joining.
People who had never heard of this strange condition rooting for the baby about to be born with it. But Peggy says Isabella came out fighting. At 3 days old, she experienced kidney failure, but survived. Then, in the following months, underwent 2 open heart surgeries.
We were always prepared for the worst, and the doctors always told us to kind of prepare for a lot of negative things, but Isabella always kind of found her way through and had great success with pretty much all her challenges. She was an amazing little girl.
Amazing even the doctors as she battled this condition, and inspiring her parents along the way.
I had faith in Isabella because every time we handed her over, you walk down the hall, but it comes to that certain point where you can't go any further, and then to give your child over to these strangers, with literally her life in their hands. But every time, we thought like, oh, this is gonna be a rough one. But she came through it every time. So I learned to just trust her.
Procedure after procedure, and the bills started to pile up. So Katie and Bella's Believers stepped in.
I couldn't believe the cost that was being incurred by Peggy and Chris. They would go down to Philadelphia, and the cost for a hotel room was astronomical. There was no room in the Ronald McDonald House. So I put the first fundraiser on, and within minutes it was paid for. For, I believe, 14 days they were paid for in advance so that if they needed it.
And Isabella thrived for a child with Wolff-Hirschhorn.
She couldn't walk. She was over like a 3 to 6 month old, but she said mama. They said she would never talk. She was visually impaired and hearing impaired, but she knew who the people in her life were and she recognized them. She didn't walk, but, or sit up or even have great head control. But she was happy. She smiled, she belly laughed. Like, she didn't have that in the beginning to miss that. Mama.
She started having seizures just before her first birthday, so the second open heart surgery wasn't performed until after it.
I wanted to celebrate her birthday because I didn't know how many we were gonna have with her. And I'm glad I did because she passed away shortly after.
Isabella wasn't even 16 months old.
She had a seizure, and it was, they did CPR and worked on her for over an hour, and they couldn't do anything.
Now, Peggy and Chris do a lot for other families and children dealing with this syndrome. They took over Bella's Believers from Katie, who had made it a nonprofit.
Let's have Isabella have a legacy. No matter what happens, let's have her be alive. Let her journey live on. So that's why we continued, and now we can help other people because they're going through the same thing. Some of them worse, some of them not so bad, but either way, it's just a travesty with monetary stuff. It's just too much.
They pay for families to attend the annual Wolff-Hirschhorn Syndrome Research Workshop.
So I thought it was important to have them meet other people, to know that it's not just you. Other people are doing this, and when you think you're having a bad day, they're doing it too. And they're smiling, so you can smile. And Isabella always smiled.
They offer their support.
We're trying to help out, the few families that we know and we come in contact with what we can, because we know what it's like to be dealing with insurance companies, trying to get approved for therapies, trying to get approved for equipment.
And Bella's Believers is spreading awareness about this rare condition, even among those in the medical field.
Having to tell your expected pediatrician or my wife's OB, no one ever heard of this, so it was just incredibly rare, and it was hard enough to explain to other doctors, My wife especially became somewhat of an expert at it, where she would explain to doctors when we go to the hospital what it was, because they never heard of it, they don't know the particulars.
Throughout the whole ordeal, Chris and Peggy stayed strong.
Peggy was never the one to be strong before. Isabella made her strong, and when everything happens, I was just so proud of how the two of them really just embraced whatever it was and just kept going and always thought the best for Isabella, and no matter what they had to do.
And now they do the same for Preston.
You want to bounce on your ball?
Isabella's little brother was born a month after she died. He knows all about his big sis, the family, making sure she lives on, here at home and through their foundation.
She may not be here, but I'd like to keep her journey alive.
For more information on how you can help Bella's Believers help families of children with Wolff-Hirschhorn syndrome, head to our Facebook page. And if you'd like to learn more about the heroes we just featured, or if you know a hero in your community, let us know. Visit our website at FiOS1NewsLI.com. Follow us on Twitter at HeroesLI, and like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/Heroes Long Island. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thanks for watching Heroes on Our Island.